Hello, everybody, and welcome to some collegiate action. I'm Newbie, that's Knuckles. How's it going, Knuckles? We got some good Edgewood College Eagles action going on today. I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah, so am I. Really looking forward to seeing Gino be played. It's the new character. I think I'll started off a little bit quiet, but all of a sudden she's all the rage. So it'll be a lot of fun to see how she gets played.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because like you're right, Juno really started off kind of slowly. Then we saw them get played a little bit over in Korea first, and then all of a sudden everybody was playing Juno all the time. So that's definitely something to watch. A quick note as well, we got a lot of new players for Edgewood College. Gordo, Kaiser, Celestia Maddie, and Melly are all new, and then M Star Masters returning. So we got one returning face and then a whole bunch of new people on the roster.
Really excited. New looks, new players, and who knows. Hopefully, Edward is able to find a lot of success with this new core. I mean, I know M Star is a fantastic main tank, and so really excited to see what this team kind of puts together.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. And you kind of mentioned as well. I really want to see what happens with the new meta. Like just off the top, like not knowing exactly what all these players might want to play all the time. What do you expect to see in terms of compositions as we go into our first map here, which is going to be Nepal?
I mean, we've been seeing a lot of Ram, in Korea, Ram, May, Brig, Ana, Juno. It's definitely it's a frontline heavy meta right now, and Ram is just the best tank because once he puts those big strong arms up, he's really, really, really hard to kill. And so I think the second DPS slot is going to kind of be up to the team. Might see some Ash, might see some Tracer, might see some Venture for Lucky. I love some Venture Overwatch, but I think I would be surprised outside of Koth if it's not mostly like a mirror, more or less.
Yeah, I think Tracer is going to be a pretty safe bet. Tracer's been a pretty safe bet since about 2017. It feels like Tracer's always in the mix somehow, one way or another. So that one I expect. Like we mentioned, Juno. I think Juno can be a really fun stand in for a Lucio in more, I guess, quote unquote, traditional comps. So instead of having that Lucio speed boost, you still have the speed ring, which allows your team to quickly get in and out depending on how they want to play. So I think that's something that might be coming up as well. And just from what I've seen from casting a lot of collegiate matches over the last couple of years, if we do get a mirror, I hope there's a lot of like hit scan sniper mirrors like Ash, Widowmaker, that kind of thing. Because there always seems to be like a cracked hit scan player in the lobby.
I know it's just like my ranked games, to be honest. For some reason, there's just always a crazy hit scam player, even when I was down at like silver. It's like this person's like diamond somehow. But I agree, and also I think that like hit scan heroes are really good to be able to see some more individual skill. Not that playing non-hit scan is not skill anything like that, but more rather it's just the ability to pop off, especially with like picks in the neutral. Something about this meta I've seen so far, it's not really heavy on picks in the neutral. You're definitely much more positional, much more just like trading cooldowns and trying to get little tactical advantages like that. But starting off, looks like we might even get the Rhine coming out from Edgewood, which with those new skins coming out, it's kind of exciting. Always love seeing some Reinhardt Overwatch. It's just some good, honest, ethical Overwatch.
Yeah, Reinhardt can be strong on these control maps as well. I mean, obviously, like really good up close. It remains to be seen how that Reinhardt will play into a Ramacho, though. That could be the one wrench in the gears for Edgewood going into this first fight.
Yeah, definitely. And with the Ramatra, I mean, it looks like Siena is going for just like a sustained comp, right? I mean, they're going to be able to stay up. I mean, they're keeping up their Bastion for as long as they can. Meanwhile, fight's already started, and meanwhile, and Unite's already in the back line.
And this means that it's going to be up to Edgewood College to stay in on the point. And that's exactly where they want to be with this mate composition. Nice ball coming out here from M-Star Master to get this fight started off. No eliminations coming through just yet, as Celestia Maddie has to use that immortality field early. And then is unfortunately not going to save Gordo, who goes down. And that looks like the first fight here will be going to SHU.
And this is one of the really tough things about this meta right now is that, I mean, that Ram was walled off. It looked like a great opportunity for Edgewood to engage, saw the speed ring come out, but unfortunately Ram was able to stay alive, and the pressure that Unite was putting on to Celestial Maddie was also cannot be understated. I mean, their Tracer was basically harassing the main healer for Edgewood, and that was making it really difficult to have like a long sustained fight. So mean, good first fight from Siena Heights, but we're gonna have to see how Edgewood is gonna adjust.
Yeah, trying to go on a rotation through the left-hand side in onto the point, and now getting forward, trying to get Kaiser built up. The longer that Symmetra stays in the fight, the better. And Arsona is going to get the first pick here on the Melly, and that is going to be another quick fight going to Siena Heights. They're just doing a really good job of knowing to win engage and take these first eliminations.
I mean, it seemed like they were able to split Edgewood College's backline. I mean, it was those are the first two to go down, and just the Bastion popping out their head and getting those picks. Not really all that common that you see the Bastion get those. But so that's going to be the second fight loss coming out from Edgewood. But this, meanwhile, it's going to be a heavy ult fight. We're going to have to see what starts the first ult that's going to be put down. I'm expecting the Symmetra, but who knows? Maybe the window will be able to push the fight in Edgewood's advantage.
We'll see. M-Star Master's already going to throw out the Blizzard as well. That is going to be answered with the Orbital Ray coming out from Social on the side of Siena Heights, trying to get forward back in onto the point. Kaiser throws down the Sim Wall as well, so a lot of ultimates being spent here by Edgewood, but it is not going in their favor as quick picks are coming through. Arsona just staying in onto the point, swinging, was able to use that Annihilation for the extra sustain, and Edgewood College was able to get 33%, but now Siena Heights is back in control.
I mean, great job just to get some of that percentage away, because otherwise Siena would have been around, I think, 70-75%. But Siena is doing a really great job of just disengaging when Edgewood is trying to engage, which kind of leaves, and Edgewood ends up on an island, kind of like around the mid fight. But look, we have a different rotation coming out from Edgewood College, and we're looking at about 2 more fights until this round is over.
Siena is sticking in onto the point, and now a Blizzard is, a window is going to come out earlier, and Arsona is able to get a pick, traded back almost instantly. M-Star Master is able to get 2, looking really good on the May, as Temp is just staying in the backline and not being bothered right now on that bash, and so able to dump in a lot of extra damage. Edgewood staying in onto the point. They have got the flip through. Temp is in the turret form, seeing if they can get any extra elimination. Social is able to get 1, and then another on the assist as Arsona's back in on the Doomfist, wanting to get back to the point as quickly as possible. And Gordo eats a Pulse Bomb from Unite, and that is going to take down the Reinhardt. A massively huge pick coming through at the end of this fight.
And that was just crazy by Siena Heights. I mean, they basically said, fine, we'll leave you guys on point, but it's okay. Once we re-engage, it's you guys are going to be in trouble. And, I didn't even expect it. The Doom just comes out and starts getting picks. Meanwhile, the Bastion is already coming out. It's going to make this passageway treacherous for Edgewood College as they just try and touch. Meanwhile, Kaser's already gone down. Gordo got a pick onto the Tracer, a headshot with the hammer. Meanwhile, 2 have already gone down from Edgewood, and that's going to be a third. This might be a map loss from Edgewood going Siena Heights' way.
Yeah, Unite was able to get 2 picks early on in that engagement with the Tracer, and that meant right there that the writing was on the wall for Edgewood. A nice slam came out from Gordo, was able to get 1, but it was a little bit too little, too late. So that means it's 1-0 Siena Heights University going into round 2 here in Nepal. And for the sub map this time around, it looks like we will be getting Sanctum.
Yeah, really interested to see what Edgewood's kind of gonna do here. I definitely felt on that last round, they were being aggressive with taking space, but Arsona was doing a really good job sort of disengaging and then re-engaging. And then even when Arsona got caught out, they were able to stay alive, and the damage was enough to burn the May wall down. Looks like we're going to be moving away from the Bastion, which I think will make it maybe a little bit easier for Edgewood to sort of set the tempo by themselves. But meanwhile, coming out with the hog, and honestly, all theories out the window. We're just seeing the opposite of what we saw last round. This is some incredible Overwatch we're about to see.
Rodak could be strong, obviously looking for those hooks into the pit. Maybe a bit of a comfort pick coming through, but they got to watch for that Ana. Those Bionades going in onto the Rodak could be devastating, as now Gordo is rotating over onto the left-hand side here. Not really wanting to engage just yet. Tampa is sitting high and wide with that Pharah, just dumping in extra damage with those rockets. So far, both teams just content to poke here and not really fully engage.
I'm kind of curious who M-Star is actually going to end up targeting. Looks like Gordo is going to be left out on an island trying to contest the point. Fortunately, goes down to Arsona. You can see Siena Heights are doing a really good job controlling a lot of space, a lot of long-range damage. Arsona is able to jump in, do some damage as well. Meanwhile, the healing that comes out from Juno means that they're able to heal basically anyone from a lot of from the opposite side of the map because they have such long sight lines. So we're going to see a switch over to the Sigma, which I think is going to be a little bit of a better pick, just because going to provide be able to provide some protection for that backline who is trying to cross that gap. But the Pharah and the Ash do so much damage. Meanwhile, Unite already gets a pick, and that's a huge punch coming out from Arsona.
Unite with the opener once again, and now Arsona is just has free reign in that backline, able to really get in and cause disruption with that Doomfist, and now that allows for the extra space for the DPS in the back to get to. Arsona still surging forward, decides that they don't quite want to go any further here, is able to get another pick in onto Melly, and now Siena Heights is chaining together some fight wins, and that's giving them an advantage in the ult economy as well.
Absolutely, and especially with Melly switching over from the Ana to the Lucio, you have kind of a weird hybrid between what is traditionally maybe like a divier backline with a pretty stationary front line. So I'm interested to see what Edgewood College have in store. Meanwhile, it looks like the Bob comes out as well as the Nano and the Doomfist. All a lot's being invested into this particular fight. Of course, we are fast approaching last fight territory.
And this looks like good investment right now from Siena Heights University. Just trying to keep Edgewood College on the outside and make their ingress towards the point as difficult as possible. Temp getting very low, has to use the conk to get back. Still has a barrage online, but wants to be judicious with that as they don't want to spend it off right away. Kitsune rush out from Celestia Maddie, but Temp's able to get one with the barrage and another in the neutral as the orbital ray is out onto the point from Social, with Temp getting another. That is going to wrap up Nepal. 2-0 win for Siena Heights University, and they are going to take the first map and lead the match 1-0.
I mean, to both new and old Overwatch players, that last play that you saw right there, that is what Juno can provide to a team. You had a Kitsune Rush Kiriko that was hitting the fair for a headshot, and she was still getting healed through that. Ultimately, pretty dominant first round coming out from Siena. We saw a few different looks from Edgewood College, but as we all know, KOTH is kind of the chaotic map mode. And so, what we saw in that on Nepal, we may not really see on the rest of the maps.
You're right. It never seems like control is representative of what we're going to see in like maps 2 or 3, just because of its unique nature. Like now we're going to go to Kings Row for our next map. So, obviously this is maybe the most classic Overwatch match. It's the map that everybody loves. Unless you're a caster all the time like me, because you see it in every match, it kind of maybe gets a little bit
Right.
old. But I mean, if there's one map I had to see at every match, I guess I would give it to Kings Row.
I mean, Kings Row is fan favorite. I'm really curious. Are they going to stick with the Reinhardt? Are they going to go with the Ram? I'm not really sure. Maybe the Diva. I mean, I know Diva was kind of hard in the meta. I think she actually got nerfed. So I don't know if she's still going to be as much of a choice. It really depends on how important the high ground is going to be because Diva obviously does a great job of being able to access that. And one of the reasons why Diva was really strong was because Juno's speed ring basically turned her into a ballistic missile. She could just absolutely, delete any squishy. So we'll see, but if they favor the Reinhardt, that would be honorable. I will say, if they want to do the Reinhardt, I'm not sure if that's necessarily the meta move, but that is some good, honest Overwatch right now, especially for Scrims, bro.
I mean, I always vote for the Reinhardt. I love seeing a good shatter with the Rhines. So if that continues, you're not going to get any complaints out of me. The one other thing I like about Kings Row is like it can lend itself to whatever type of composition you want, whether that's dive, whether that's rush. I think it's pretty versatile in allowing you to run what your comfort levels are. So I
Hmm.
think here for Edgewood College, obviously, especially now that you're down 1-0, you're really going to want to just pick whatever heroes you're comfortable with and see if they'll work out for you. It looks like we might have some spicy picks here, but it's still early days. I've learned not to get too hyped up with picks in the spawn room.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, we all want to believe. Believing is what gives us joy, but at the same time, I mean, this is a familiar-ish look. I mean, it looks like maybe Gordo's really preferring the Reinhardt right now. I think Sienna is coming out with a comp that is like, I mean, I would say definitely like a meta comp. This is something we would really expect to see, especially with the Ash with the long sight lines. Tracer's able to control Hotel, able to control a lot of the flanks, and meanwhile, Ram is just unkillable. And it looks like Edgewood College is going to stick with the Reinhardt. We'll see what the Widow becomes because I don't think they're going to keep that.
I do like the Reinhardt May combo. I think there's good synergy there between those two heroes. Obviously, trying to isolate people from Siena Heights University with those May walls to see if they can get an early eliminations. As right now, Edgewood College moving in over onto the objective, but they are quickly rebuffed here by Siena Heights University. And with multiple picks coming through, that's going to be a quick first fight here and a reset for the attackers.
I mean, M-Star was like, "All right, guys, let's go, let's go, let's go, high ground," and seemed like Arsona had just descended onto their team like a harpy eagle. Oh my god, the synergy between Temp and Arsona is good. And by the way, Temp was not the Tracer player last map, so some flexibility coming out from Siena Heights. But look at the pressure coming out from Edgewood to make sure that Temp can't live in their backline. Of course, as I say that, Temp is living in their backline. That's going to be a huge nade coming out from Manjolo, and it's going to be another fight loss for Edgewood. But at the very least, they're building up their ults. Definitely going to be waiting for the Blizzard to come out, and those are two quick fight losses, and at least they're not getting staggered out.
That was a massive Bionade that came out there from the Ana. I really think that kind of ended that last fight before it begins. Good on Edgewood College trying to get right back into this as quickly as they can. They got to really be careful of Temp, who has the Pulse Bomb online. Immortality Field has to come out from Celestia Maddie to try and keep their support line happy and healthy going into this fight. Gordo going in on over to the point. It's going to take another Bionade to the base, and Melly and Celestia Maddie are already down, so that is the supports gone. So a good job from Siena Heights University focusing those supports down first and then just doing the requisite cleanup afterwards.
Wow, and what was kind of huge about that fight as well is that Edgewood didn't really have a big opportunity there to build ult charge. I mean, M-Star's still waiting for the Blizzard. They're going to get at this fight, but look how Siena Heights is taking space. I mean, they are playing wide. They are covering the different angles of the door. Meanwhile, Arsona just runs down the back line again. This is one of the benefits that the Ram has. Just so much damage coming out from those fists. And, once the BAP is gone, Lucio's not going to be able to heal all that much.
And so far, Siena Heights University has been able to win a couple fights, and they haven't really had to spend ultimates outside of that pulse bomb. So they do have a lot of ultimates online for this fight, and they are going to spend as the Bob comes out early from Unite, and now that is going to allow Arsona to get right into the back. They throw down Annihilation. M-Star Master tried to answer with a Blizzard, but it was just a minor inconvenience as now Siena Heights University is just sitting right on the spawn door, and there's still a minute 15 left to go.
I mean, they're just playing with a lot of speed. I mean, even though Edgewood actually has the Lucio, you're just seeing kind of Siena is getting so much access to their backline, whether it's their tank, whether it's, the Tracer. That's going to be another huge nade on a sneaky flank spot from the Ana, in addition to the orbital strike coming out. It's a great sleep coming out on the Kaiser, and that is another defiant team fight win coming out for Siena.
Right now, the supports for Siena are doing so good at getting a maximum value out of this Ana Juno combo. You can see the flanks that have come out for the Ana, like you mentioned in that last fight, have been really working out with those Bionades. And now with only 35 seconds left, Edgewood College only has a couple ultimates left to work with going into Hotel, and they are taking a ton of damage, and Arsona is already able to take down one. Unfortunately, Melly's sound barrier was not able to save Kaiser, and now it is a 5-on-4 fight. Melly is the next to fall, and just like that, 15 seconds left to go, and it's going to be tough for Edgewood College to even get back to the point.
I mean, those nades are like meteors, and Edgewood College like the dinosaurs, and this is the Lake Cretaceous right now. Those nades have been doing so much work. You do have the Shatter available for Gordo. Will they be able to touch? That is going to be a no, despite their best efforts. And that's going to be a full hold coming out, for the Eagles. And I mean, it just didn't seem like they were able to get their foot in the door as far as controlling space. It seemed like Siena was really one step ahead of them a lot of the times. With we even saw a cheeky flank coming out from Siena's Ana, and that was a pretty dominant first round hold. But we'll see if there's going to be any adjustments coming out for this defense, because there definitely needs to be.
Yeah, adaptation is the name of the game right now, and I think it's going to be really tough because Siena Heights University has really shown they understand how this composition is going to work for them. Obviously, you have those ultra aggressive supports kind of getting into the back line, and then the extra sustain coming up from Arsona on that Ram. It seems like a pretty tough combo to break down. And now on their attack, Siena Heights University only needs to get one tick to go up 2-0 in the series.
I mean, really curious to see what they're doing with this comp here. I suppose the Lucio will allow them to be able to have quicker
Every loss
rotations with the
in life is
Bastion,
its
but
own reward.
curious if they're going to stay on the Mercy. Honestly, I kind of doubt it. I don't really know that Mercy. Well, of course. All right. All right. The Bab's going to come out. I think that makes a little bit more sense. Looks like, I mean, Edgewood are definitely going to just double down, or they're going to say, okay, if you guys are going to run at us, we're going to make sure that we're able to punch you in the face again. But the real question is, are they going to stick on this Winton?
It looks like as of so far, they will do just that. Are sort of going for a rotation around the statue, while Unite is going to see if they can get in and get a quick pick on that Widowmaker, which would obviously open everything up for Siena University. Edgewood College rotating around the hotel before going back in onto the point. The trades coming through, both teams going down, losing a BAP for Edgewood. This is going to be tough to persevere through as they lose so much utility, so much healing with that Baptiste out of the fight. Now with M-Star Master going down, this is going to be tough for them to hold on to this one ticker. Gordo getting oh so very low, and they go down as well. And with that, the writing is on the wall. There's nothing that Edgewood College could do, and that is going to be a 2-0 lead for Siena University.
Siena Heights, absolutely on that attack, checked into the hotel, just got access to Edgewood's backline. That was another monster nade coming out onto M Star and Gordo. We'll have to see if this Ryan is really the pick moving forward. These are kind of the early days. This is a new team. They're getting adjusted to each other. And we're gonna have to see what are comfort picks versus like what's a read on the meta. But this was emphatic as a victory. This was really, I mean, Siena Heights, like you said, they really understand this meta and they understand the tempo of the meta as well and how much space they can take and when doing and their engages are really quick as well. It's one of the reasons I think they're working really well with the tracer. I think sometimes Edgewood is just getting caught out on rotations. When your BAP is getting jumped on by a Ramatra, it's like who's making the call for that, right? Or when you're sitting next to hotel and the Widowmaker is walking into hotel, who's making the call for that? So little things here and there, just I think that it'll be ironed out as the season goes along. But what I can at least appreciate about Edgewood is that they're definitely giving us a look that I haven't really seen recently. And like, I love variation in, you know, Overwatch. I love watching different team comps try to accomplish the same, well, ultimately the goal of winning.
And I think you highlighted something really important as well, which is like you mentioned the word tempo. And I think that's something probably you and I have talked about before, Knuckles, in these Overwatch matches is like if you're the team dictating the tempo, if you're playing it at the pace you want, forcing the other team to catch up or slow down to you, I think that can really be a quite a large advantage. And I think that's something that Siena Heights University has done really well. And just to quickly touch on one other thing you mentioned, I think one thing the BAP can struggle with from time to time is like how diveable they can be, right? Like I know they have the exit boots, they can jump around a little bit, but I feel like if the other team is focusing in on that Bastion no, or on that Baptiste and knows they can get in on the back line, it's really a vulnerable spot that you have to watch for. So going into our next map, which is push, that is going to be something to keep in mind because in this push map, I feel like tempo is ultra important.
Right, and something to talk about with like Sienna, they have not played the May yet, I don't believe. So you have what Edward's trying to do is basically control where the fights are being taken, and either isolate usually the main tank, or maybe try and close off angles in order again to create where their engages are. And they have the Lucio, but it doesn't seem like they're really able to get Sienna into the spots where they want to take the fight. And the other difficult thing about the Ramatra is that again, if you wall off Ramatra, it's just so much damage. And and also to your point about the Baptiste, that's one of the reasons why Juno is really good right now is because Juno is very difficult to jump on, and the healing is still really good. And I think that the ult is mean, the old I think is in a better spot right now just because teams are really clumped up. That's just kind of the way that the meta's working right now. I mean, on a map like this with longer sight lines, I mean, maybe the window would work. But that being said, I am pretty sure this is actually my first time spectating this map. So I'm also looking forward to seeing what these teams are going to do because I don't. And it looks like Edgewood might be coming out with the Maga, which frankly, I actually really don't mind.
Yeah, the Maga will be fun to watch for sure. I really want to see how that works with the DPS line that Edgewood College is going to start with as well. We are going to see Kaiser on the Sombra, so obviously the big thing with the Sombra is looking for that EMP, such a fight-winning ultimate, and that could really dictate the win or loss of some of these fights.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of damage coming out from the Maga. Hopefully, there's going to be a little bit of synergy coming out from the Maga and the Sombra. Maybe also some, I mean, I wouldn't say Peel, but like maybe also be able to bother the Tracer as well. But already it looks like Unite has Kaiser's number. It's just kind of sitting there in main. Looks like we're going to get a disengage coming out from Edgewood, which is good disengage to begin with, at least. You know, you lose one, you get out, you'll be able to take a well, of course, as I say that, Unite manages to take out Melly. That's going to be another one down. And looks like Edgewood are trying to get away and managed to pull one back, with Temp maybe overextending just a little bit.
And Unite is looking really strong on that DPS role so far. You know, multiple picks in that fight and a really good start. And then getting that Lucio really stops that disengage from happening for Edgewood College. And now their picks are coming through. The bot has already moved 30 meters and counting. And with the pick going on to Kaiser once again, that is slow going on building that EMP. And Unite has already built themselves up to a Deadeye.
I mean, Unite turned that into a shooting gallery. I mean, that was the Wild West right there, and they were Butch Cassidy. Looks like they're gonna have a wall coming out on Unite. See if they can do enough damage to manage to take them out, and they did. It's a good isolation coming out from Gorder and Kaizo, but Arsona looks like they might have access to the Edgewood's backline. It's gonna be a pick from Temp coming out onto Kaiser, but the Brig ult coming out is really strong right now. Brig is really good. So this is going to allow Siena to stay in the fight for longer. But with both support ults coming out for Edgewood, it looks like this is going to be a fight win going their way. And this is a good look coming out from them. This is a really positive change.
Yeah, a good stagger at the end, getting social as well. And Gordo's looked good in the Maga so far, so I think that pick has been working out for them. And this is something that will be very important with Push in particular, is snowballing some of these fight wins together. One fight win at a time isn't going to get you too much. You're going to need to build up 2, 3 fight wins just to get back into it at this point. For Edgewood College's Siena Heights University is already at 60 meters and counting. And now the Blizzard is going to come out from M-Star Master to see if they can keep this fight rolling. Gordo not wanting to use that cage fight just yet as the bot is still moving. Kaiser is getting close to EMP. The cage fight comes up, but Gordo goes down.
Looks like the team was totally split there. M-Star manages to trade one back on the Brig, but Temp is still an absolute nightmare in the backline. Manages to get two. Unite gets another, and it just seemed like Edgewood weren't on the same page. You had Gordo on another part of the map dropping ult, while the BAP and the Lucio were all fighting the Tracer, who was on point. So not only was Gordo, popping ult by themselves, but also they were not getting any card progress. And by the way, the Temp decided to touch point right when M-Star dropped ult, their Blizzard. So they actually didn't really get a whole lot of cart progress, but it looks like they're stabilizing right now and going into the next fight.
It'll be a big pick if they can get rid of that Ram, but Arsona is soaking up so much damage on that tank line. And Manjolo is able to take down one as M-Star Master falls to the ground. Cart is still moving, and with Unite getting another pick in on Gordo, and now at 2 pieces to get Melly, that is going to be a quick cleanup here for Siena University, and they are rolling.
I mean, they are just moving at the speed of sound. I mean, Edgewood is, doing their best at the moment, but I mean, it's just really tough when you have this kind of pressure coming out from the DPS. I mean, Temp has been an absolute nightmare, and that Arsona is allowed to step forward because Temp is drawing so much attention, but then Temp also has so much space because Arsona is stepping forward, and at the moment, they have no one who can actually touch the point. I think that this is going to be a full cap coming out for Siena.
This looks like it could be a can anybody touch for Edgewood College? The answer is unfortunately not. That is going to do it. Another map win and a match win for Siena University as they take this first matchup of the collegiate season 3-0.
I mean, definitely, a few positives coming out for Edgewood, a few things to work on. First and foremost, I mean, great performance coming out from Siena. They looked really well drilled. I think that they look comfortable in a lot of different heroes. And like we said, this is a new team for Edgewood. I think that they're probably still figuring out, what their identity as a team is going to be. They seem to really like the BAP and the Lucio. How is that going to fit into the meta? M-Star actually looked pretty good on the May, to be honest. Like, I thought that they were able to get picks, able to actually create space, push the tempo a little bit. Gordo, we saw 3 different tanks, but I don't believe we saw Gordo on the Ram, so who knows whether or not that's, like, choice, personal preference, whatever it might be, but, like I said earlier, we're seeing a lot of different looks coming off from Edgewood, and right now, I think it's a combination of, figuring things out, but also I think Siena just looked like a more, cohesive team.
For sure. So I think you mentioned something as well. Like there's a lot of things to take away from this match as far as learning is like as far as information goes. Maybe we'll see some tweaks to composition next time around. Maybe we'll see just like a bit of a different play style, maybe something a little bit quicker, because it seemed like a lot of time Edgewood ended up on the back foot, and they really couldn't get it back. Like you talked about near the end about the pressure that Siena University was putting on, and there was like no room to breathe for Edgewood. They never had time to really regroup because they were already under siege like again and again and again. And they just really weren't able to get comfortable. And it's credit to Siena University too. Like that's a really good way to play Overwatch.
Right, and I think that, especially, you can tell, with Edgewood, I mean, you could tell in the mid fight there was a lot of confusion, and this is also part of, like, I think it being difficult because 'cause they're not being proactive in the end, I thought they were a little more proactive on Koth, actually, but that was when I think that, I think maybe they had a better understanding of the maps. But it seemed like definitely with with Kings Row, for example, they were trying to isolate Arsona on point, which not really sure that's the play, right? He's just so difficult to kill. And so it's a couple of things, and I think that, getting more cohesive as a team is going to really help. It's going to help with the mid fight, but also once again, maybe they were going BAP Lucio because they were worried about the tracer play on Sienna. So again, some things might actually end up just being a consequence of them adapting to who they're playing against. But it's I mean, it's a first showing definitely, and I think that there's a lot of areas to improve. But always excited to watch Eagles Overwatch.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what'll be happening next week as well. Week two has them going up against SUNY Fredonia, so we'll see that on the 3rd of October. But for today, that is going to do it for us. So again, I'm Newbie. That's Knuckles. Thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to Ageless and Sharp in the background helping us out. And as I mentioned, we will be back next week. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you then.